on. Welcome to the postgame report. Texas Tech beats SFA 28-20. I'm Ben Golan, joined by Matt Clare. This was a game. The Red Raiders were favored by 31.5, and they obviously did not cover. Took a goal line stand at the end to win it. Matt, how do you feel?
That game took a few years off my life, so we'll see. But no, it's one of these like early season games where not a lot of things make sense, and everything that happened to this team in the first half, being down 13-7, they did to themselves. And so, if you're gonna have bumps and bruises and mistakes, maybe do it in the outer conference, but that just came down to the very end. That came down to the wire. They had a chance to be up, and put this game away, and they never really took advantage of that. Obviously, I think you've got to give a big shout out to the defense, because I think that the pick six and then the punt return, spotted the other team 10 points at least, 13 if you want to, count the other fumble from Chuck. So, they came through time after time, and SFA, obviously, this was something they were playing pretty hard for. So, I don't know. A win's a win, as they say, but really hard to find a lot of positives out of this one, Ben.
A lot of things I do want to talk about, but just I think overall what I'm most maybe disappointed in is all week, Matt Wells and the coaches and the players talked about how in week one, all these FCS teams won, all these games were close. They were well aware of that. It seemed like, obviously last year with Houston Baptist. So none of this was a surprise. And I just expected them to maybe come out more determined, put, a lesser team like SFA away, and it just didn't happen. And now it's 2 weeks in a row, just a disastrous kind of first half, and then you're playing catch up, and thankfully the defense was able to get a stop there at the end, because that was almost a disaster. That was 7 yards away from just complete disaster.
No, absolutely. There shouldn't be many positives taken away from this game. The offensive line got pushed around. The running game had its moments, but for the most part, was pretty ineffective for the majority of the game. And you just look at Tyler Shuck. He had a great first week. He protected the ball. There wasn't a lot of things to really brag about. I feel like there were a couple of plays where receivers could have helped out. But for the most part, he bailed on some pockets. And, again, going back to the offensive line, they didn't give him a lot of extra time to make those decisions. But, I think he did some good things with his legs. But overall, he's got to, I don't know, either he's got to be more comfortable in the offense, or Cumbie's got to get something going consistently where, like I said earlier, maybe there's just going to inevitably be a game where these sort of new bumps and bruises showed themselves. But I think anything that happened in this game, Tech honestly did to themselves, like 100%. There were big chunks on defense that were given up on third and fourth downs, and just some mental slips that just simply aren't going to be able to happen in weeks 4 and beyond.
Yeah, I think SFA went 5 of 8 on fourth down, so that's 2 weeks in a row now where the other team is just keeps converting fourth downs, and the defense can't get off the field. But you mentioned Tyler Shuck, and obviously this is not all on him. The receivers, the O-line, it takes a whole unit. But I felt like Tech's passing offense was just anemic today. You had 2 big plays to Ezekonma, right? 74 yards and then a 50-something. And other than that, nothing. There wasn't a single. The only other receivers to even catch a pass tonight, Miles Price had 1 for 12 yards. McLean Mannix had 1 for 2 yards, and then Easy 6 for 146. That's it. Not another. Not a single. We heard about all this receiving talent. Where is it? Not a tight end. No tight end caught a pass tonight. Taj Brooks ran it well, 113 yards, 2 more touchdowns. Seems like he's maybe been the most consistent player. Him and Ezekonma, obviously, just, not getting much going in the passing game at all.
No, and it, that's the I'm glad you brought that up because I mean it just seems like if you key on Izukama, I mean there's gonna be some better teams you play that can throw resources at not only doubling him but keeping you from even looking at that side of the field. And some of these other guys are gonna have to be incorporated into the offense. And I just for me, I saw too many flashbacks to last year where it was like a play fake and a screen, a play fake and a screen, and not a lot of stuff was actually being pushed up the field. And I think when you're playing, look, all due respect to SFA, but you have better talent, bigger athletes, you should be able to push them off the ball. And that simply did not happen. And I think that had a lot to do with the game plan and the play calling. I think you need to go straight at them. I don't think you need to do any of this screen, any of this, that. That's what they needed to do to equalize the talent gap, not on the other side. And so I didn't like how things were going, on the front end. And even when you look at the big play of the first half with Izukama going 75 yards, well, that was a 3rd and 8 that you quickly found yourself in. And obviously he caught that and he went the distance. But the rest of the half, you were putrid on offense. I mean, nothing. You were just getting pushed around by SFA. And so you have got to hope as a Tech fan watching this that is some sort of an anomaly or something they can grow and learn from, because you just took really all that goodwill of last weekend and everything that we had just talked about with the great second half against Houston in NRG Stadium, and you flush it all down the toilet because, like you said, you're really very very short away from losing to SFA, and I mean that would have just been crippling. I mean, to the entire season, it would have been over. Now, in reality, yes, you're 2-1, you can move on, but Ben, I mean, I mean, it's got to be eye opening for Tech fans to see like you can't take any momentum from week one and carry it into a home game at night. It just is baffling to me.
Yeah, some stats I'm looking at, and it was hard to find these because ESPN is down and StatCast is down, and so I had to go to like 6 different sites. But let's see, Tech -4 in turnovers tonight, 2 fumbles, 2 interceptions. SFA had more than double time of possession. SFA held the ball for 39 minutes and 48 seconds. Tech just 19 minutes. And we think about last week, whatever the stat was, Tech ran, I think, 56 plays against Houston. It was the fewest in a win in like, 20 years, something like that. Well, Tech ran even fewer plays tonight, just 47 plays for the offense. They're not converting third downs. They're not keeping the offense on the field. They did hit some big plays. I mean, Brooks had a long run, White, the two to Easy. And I mean, you have to have the big plays, but it feels like it's either big play or quick 3 and out and back, and then SFA just keeps convert 80. SFA ran 87 plays to your 47. That, I mean,
Yeah.
the defense has to be gassed there at the end. I don't know how they came up with the stop.
Well, it's not going to trend well when you start playing against better teams. That's not going to work every week. It's not. I mean, I think you can point to, like you said, you can point to the long run from Brooks. You can point to the long run from Izakama after the catch. But at the end of the day, points are points. I mean, they had so many opportunities to say, okay, we're done playing around. Let's score some points. And you call it a field goal, you call it a touchdown. They just simply didn't do it. And they left that team in the game until the very end. And so, again, I'll just say kudos to the defense. I think that ultimately you're going to have to get to the quarterback. I think SFA's quarterback had a tremendous game. He stuck in the pocket. He made some good throws. I was not encouraged by what Shuck showed on the field in terms of staying in the pocket or, being decisive, when leaving the pocket. I think he did some great things with his legs on some design runs or some RPOs. But outside of that, I think that it's one of those things where, again, I'll go back and hopefully at the end of the season we chalk it up to, man, that was just a close game, or yada yada. But the team that scored 38 against Houston, the team that really kind of turned things around and didn't make mistakes, they weren't there tonight. I mean, there were a lot of mistakes, a lot of penalties. I mean, a lot of foolish things, man. I mean, you look at second and forever, right? Second and Leveland for SFA, and who was that? Hutchings that just
Hutchings with the
pulled
face mask.
the helmet backwards. I mean, again, I know it's in the heat of the moment type of thing, but that is a backbreaker, and it really shouldn't have even gotten to that. It really shouldn't. I mean, I think there are plenty of reasons to chalk up mistakes, but the pick six and the muffed punt, I mean, those are things that will absolutely lose you games moving forward. And I really think the Red Raiders are fortunate to leave this one at home with a win to be 2-0.
Yeah, yeah, I think you touched on it with the lack of a pass rush. I think that was another area I was disappointed in. I thought you'd be able to get some pressure on them, and Tech did get pressure at times, but just overall, the SFA quarterback Trey South, he made too many plays. You just can't, like you said, the competition level is going to go up. Even next week with Florida International, they're an FBS team. They should be better than SFA. So, just
Yeah,
overall,
they've
I mean,
already played Florida, right? I mean, they're
yeah,
going to be battle tested almost.
yeah, it was a weird day overall in the Big 12. There was a lot of close games, like Oklahoma State barely beat Tulsa. I saw Kansas State beat Southern Illinois by a touchdown, and obviously Texas lost, and Iowa State lost. Just maybe chalk it up to one of those days. But yeah, just uh, overall, I think you're happy that you won, just not happy at all how it looked, and there's certainly a lot of areas for improvement on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, as long as you get out healthy and you get the win, I think that's all you can ask for. But you touched on it. I mean, FAU is probably a better team, and they're going to come in and these schools are playing their Super Bowl. They're coming in making a check, and they want to win. And so I think hopefully that that woke up the Tech players to say that, hey, any team's going to come in here and try to win. And you got to protect your home field. I think that I didn't get my pick in time, but I mean, most of you guys were thinking high 50s and potentially 62 on some of those, and I mean that's wild now to think about it. Looking at that offense, because they could do nothing. I saw nothing but screens left, screen right, and throw to Izakanma. There wasn't really anything else, and I'm absolutely positive that these runs, these big chunk plays, those are great. I hope those persist, but yeah, like you said, I mean, around the Big 12 it's hard to make sense of these things, but much like we say week one, okay, week two, I mean, at some point you are who you are, and if you're going to allow yourself to play a night game at home and let SFA hang with you like that, I mean, to me, we talk about now it's personal. Well, start taking it personal. Like, start having some pride. Like, make some tackles. Like, stop these guys. Figure something out on offense. And I just think that it doesn't give you a lot of encouragement as the season goes on, just to see the offense play like that. Hopefully, Sonny Cumby, Tyler Shuck, the rest of them can really start getting something together, because all we've seen so far is the occasional good throw from Shuck to Izakanma, who makes a play himself, and then a long run from a running back, which both are great. Don't get me wrong, but it's the boomer bust, like you said, and that's eventually going to catch up to you.
Yeah, yeah. I don't even know what else to add. I think I had some thoughts and I lost them, but I need
I
a
had I had one more thing. Sorry,
yeah,
you
yeah, go ahead.
we talked about it going into it because you and I cover recruiting. This is the type of game where you're supposed to dominate. This is the type of game where you're supposed to be up 30 plus points, where you can see a Jerron Bradley, where you can start to see some of these other guys that had just signed or a redshirt freshman. You got to see none of that tonight because you're having to trot out your ones and your twos all night. And I think that's gonna be a detriment long term. You have seriously, and like you said, FAU should be better next week. I mean, you're supposed to see the second string. You're supposed to see, the rest of the lineup when you're up against an FBS opponent and you impose your will. And when you don't do that, you don't see any of those guys. And so there's no recruiting notes. There's no, oh, hey, look, here's a glimpse into the future. You don't see Donovan Smith or Baron Morton at quarterback. None of these things. And you're literally have your ones out there at the end of the game trying to win against SFA on your home field. And so, yeah, you're 2-0, but I mean, hopefully these guys are pissed off going into next weekend, wanting to show that this is not going to be the norm.
I'm with you. I wanted to see Donovan Smith. I even wrote that in my prediction. I think that you'll see the third and fourth stringers. Really disappointed in that. The FIU game, actually, I won't get to see next week. It's my brother's wedding, and I'm the best man, and so I need a blowout, so I'm not up there, checking the phone, trying to sneak a fourth quarter game again. Man, and then to top it off, we get an email in the third quarter stating half the game day staff didn't show up, and long concession lines. So just to add to the pain of the game tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that affected what happened on the field. Unfortunately, I'm sorry to hear that some people experience longer lines in the concession stands. But yeah, all in all, it's hard to be too critical. A win's a win. Um, I don't know what else to say, Ben. I mean, there's not a lot to talk about going into next week. I mean, you're almost expecting them to come out and I mean, in the first half, you're almost expecting 7 points, right? That's the average so far, and you're expecting a stagnant game, and then in the second half, what, two or three scores, and it's supposed to be over. I mean, that's not going to work every week, and so I think next week the goal should be to start fast and play a consistent football game. I mean, you're going to be at home again. Just as much as we've said FAU should be better than SFA. I mean, most of you guys thought SFA was a 50, or well, Vegas thought SFA was a 31.5 point dog to Tech, and that sure as shit didn't happen with a 6 point win. So I don't know. I think next week, obviously Texas lost to Arkansas, and everybody had been circling that week 4 game in Arkansas as being okay. You beat Houston, now you can beat these next two FBS teams and go to Austin undefeated. You still have that in your sights, and it looks like Texas is a beatable team. So I mean, I'll take that as a positive, Ben. I'll take the win is a win, and forget it and try to improve and move forward.
Yep, I'm with you. Hopefully, like you said, at the end of the year, we look back and it's just a close win, and things improve from here. But I mean, that's all I had. You had anything else?
Well, I just wanted to ask you one question. We both agree that Izakama has, he's getting the first possession even was just all Izakama.
Yeah.
It was all scripted, right? And getting the ball to the playmakers, which I don't mind. But who behind Izakama needs to step up and become, that second guy as an option for Shep, because we haven't seen that just yet.
Yeah, I thought Miles Price was going to have a breakout year. I thought Kalen Geiger came over from Troy, and he put up some great stats over there. And then all fall camp, we heard about JJ Sparkman, and we just haven't seen it so far. So whether it's the play calling, or the quarterback's not seeing them, or who knows what it is, but absolutely you need to get them involved. You just need to scheme up some more things. I don't know what the answer is. I'm not smart enough to be a football coach. It's why I'm here. But just
Yeah, that's true.
the talent is there. I think we both agree that these guys have talent. Dalton Rigdon, 2 years ago, he had a solid year. He didn't have a catch tonight either. So you just got to target these guys, give them the ball in space, and let them do work, because right now it's just not happening.
Yeah, I think whether it's Easy or other receivers, I think, I mean, obviously any week you can do it, but when you're up against an SFA or an FAU next week, I mean, and you're at home at night, throw the ball down the field, just get it down there. I mean, do what you got to do, play action, roll out, shotgun, whatever the case may be. Put your playmakers against their defensive backs. I mean, I thought that there were plenty of times there were one-on-one coverages out there, and SFA was getting pressure with 3 or 4 guys, and that's not great if you're the Tech offensive line. So I think they need to review this tape. They need to be better next weekend. There's a couple of guys that absolutely need to be better on the offensive line, and that's mostly the interior. And then overall, they've just got to look at the penalties and clean that up. And so hopefully you can chalk a lot of these things up just to a 1 week deal. But I don't know, Ben, thanks for jumping on, man. I know this is sporadic, and it's not the best of feelings after a post game. But again, win's a win, 2-0, going into next weekend, and everything ahead of you. So anything else?
That's it for me. I think if we wake up tomorrow and 5-star center Johan Traore, who's on campus now, commits, I think everyone will feel better. So let's just hope that
Yeah.
happens.
There you go. Well, I mean, I was like, I was dreading because my brother-in-law, one of my best buds, he went to SFA, and he wouldn't have really stuck it to me or anything, but he was texting me the whole time. But
Jeez.
what I had done earlier in the day is, I forget who sent it, but somebody sent me the video of DJ Diesel Shaq saying, we're gonna kill SFA today or
Yeah.
something like that. And well, that did not happen. You did not kill them. They if they died a very slow death there at the end, and you got pretty lucky. So yeah, I was like dreading that text, and that living in infamy. And I think I even tweeted that too. So yeah, I mean, nothing is promised in college football. You look across the leagues, like you said earlier, at halftime. I don't even know what college Kansas State played, but that one was close. And then Toledo was about to whoop Oklahoma State there till the very end. So I don't know. I mean, I even had TCU buddies text me, and I'm like, you guys just almost lost to Cal, who just lost to Nevada. So I don't know. It's upside down world. It's banana lands. I mean, I'll take the win. I'll take 2-0 all day.
Yep. Ugly box score. You're 2-0. Very lucky to be 2-0, but 2-0, and hopefully things get better next week. That's all I got, man.
All right, man. We'll live to fight another day. We'll talk soon.
Thanks,
See you
guys.
guys.